bioavailable so that plants can uptake those nutrients. They increase water infiltration into the soil. They increase the carbon content. They increase soil aggregate stability. Okay? And of course, that in turn increases water infiltration. And they provide mediation or stabilization of temperature and moisture in the soil. Some other benefits, again, they release crop nutrients that are strongly locked in the soil. Phosphorus is certainly one of those, and you've heard many speakers throughout this conference talk about bound phosphorus in the soil and the ability of microbes to unbind and release that phosphorus for plant uptake. They improve overall soil structure, tilth, and productivity. Now, what should we be looking at if we examine an acre of healthy soil? And many of you, if you've seen my presentations before, you've seen this. But this chart is just a clear illustration of what we would anticipate in an acre of healthy soil. We want to see over 1 ton of bacteria, over 1,300 pounds of actinobacteria. And several other speakers have said it, but actinobacteria or actinomycetes are bacteria that create that rich, earthy smell to the soil, okay, when we turn it over. We should have over a ton of fungi in the soil, active. 90 pounds of algae and protozoa, over 45 pounds of nematodes. Look at this, over 400 pounds per acre of earthworms, okay, if we have healthy, vibrant soil, and over 830 pounds of soil-level insects. Now think about this. If you have all of this activity below the soil surface and at the soil level, they're performing their functions, and I'm getting ready to run through what a lot of these functions are real quick, but also what happens when all of these organisms die. And as they die and reproduce, their bodies become what? New soil organic matter, okay? This is what we typically see when we've done analysis, soil analysis, microbial analysis. This is what we see in depleted soil, okay? And unfortunately, we're seeing more and more examples of this over the last decade or so. So you can see there's a significant difference. These are examples of some of the microbes that we should be seeing in the soil. And we've got all kinds of bacteria, Pseudomonas, Mycobacterium, Bacillus, the actinomycetes. We have a number of different fungi that should exist in the soil. Protozoa, okay? These are some pictures of protozoa. And protozoa, we talk a lot about the bacteria and the fungi, but what do protozoa do for us, okay? Well, first of all, they help regulate bacterial populations. They mineralize nutrients, they release ammonia, and they function in nutrient cycling, okay? So protozoa are very important in the functions that they perform. Nematodes. And often when we talk about nematodes, we think of nematodes in a negative light, harmful nematodes. And yes, there are. But there are also favorable nematodes. So there's basically 4 types of free-living nematodes in the soil. Bacterial feeders, fungal feeders, predatory nematodes, and omnivores. The beneficial nematodes that are in the soil help control disease, and they cycle nutrients. They stimulate prey populations. They disperse microbes so that microbes can better and more efficiently function throughout that rhizosphere, or that root zone. They provide a food source to higher level predators in the soil. And we can see disease suppression, but also disease development, depending upon the type of nematode that we're talking about. So let's take a look then at some various types of nematodes that exist in the soil. Up top, you see fungal feeders and bacterial feeders, and these would be an example of some favorable nematodes. Again, you have to remember that just like above the soil surface, to keep nature in balance, we have to have the proper predator-prey relationship. Okay, below the soil surface, we also have to do our best to maintain that optimal predator-prey relationship to help us in biological control. Down on the bottom, you see lesion nematodes and root feeders. Okay, arthropods. Okay, these soil-level insects are, again, just as critical to us as the soil microbes. There are a number of very key functions that they perform. First of all, they shred organic material. They stimulate microbial activity primarily through the shredding of that organic material. They mix microbes. Okay? They mineralize plant nutrients. They also play a role in enhancing soil aggregation. They burrow, and those burrows create channels or pores for water to infiltrate into the soil whenever we get a rain. They stimulate succession of species, and they control pests. So there's a number of very favorable things that arthropods do for us, and there's literally hundreds and even thousands of species that are beneficial to us. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, in talking about soil-level arthropods that exist. You have mites, you have sow bugs, beetles, ants, and many, many other types of insects there. Last but not least, we have earthworms. Okay? Now, what I have seen in every situation where we are able to improve the soil microbial population, we also improve the soil earthworm population. Okay? You don't have to seed them. They just appear. When you improve the soil organic matter and the soil microbial population, earthworms will be there. Okay? And what do? They stimulate microbial activity. They mix and aggregate soil. They improve infiltration. They improve water holding capacity. They provide channels for root growth. And they also bury and shred plant material and create new organic matter. And if you take a look at this, obviously these are earthworms that we've dug up, but if you take a look at this is on top of the soil surface. That is earthworm castings. Okay? So if you have a vibrant population of earthworms, they can do a great job of helping you to slowly but surely build soil organic matter. So healthy soil then equals life. Okay, and again, two of the most critical soil microbes that we have functioning for us are bacteria and fungi in that root zone or rhizosphere. And as many other speakers have talked about during the past 2 days, we have microbes that do an excellent job of fixing atmospheric nitrogen and converting it into a usable form of nitrogen for plant uptake. If you'll take a look at this chart, this just simply illustrates the need for deeper, better root growth in our plants. You'll notice in the top 13 inches of soil, and this is soil pedon data taken by the NRCS, we've done a very good job of essentially mining a lot of the nutrients in those top two soil strata. But we still have a lot of nutrients, a lot of minerals available as we go deeper into the soil. So if we can effectively increase root depth of many of our plant species and our crop species that we're growing through enhanced soil aggregation and microbial activity, then we can start to remineralize those top two strata of soil. So what is the actual value of soil organic matter? It does have a value. And let's take a look at some very specific data that quantifies that for us. Okay? First of all, let's look at our national annual soil loss in the U.S., and this is NRCS data. And from 82 to 97, you can see that we've started to turn the corner here, and we decreased our annual topsoil loss from 8.